What this emotion is telling you is you need to change your perception, because otherwise you're going to feel pain for no reason. You might also look at this same situation as a symbol that you need to change your procedure.
But for some of you, that contract messed you up. You soft now. You ain't as hungry as you was when you was in high school. You ain't as hungry as you was when you was in college.
But what's going to make the major difference? Each person's personal philosophy that sets a better sail, sets a better sail. So don't ask for a more favorable wind. That's like wishing something that's not going to occur.
Anybody can give up, anybody can let it overwhelm you, but you know what that's doing, wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you, it's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you. Difficulties are a part of life. Now quit telling yourself you can't take. If you're not weak, you are well able. Eventually the pain will pass. You'll give birth to new strength. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. There will always be forces trying to convince us to settle where we are. Life has a way of pushing our dreams down.
Procedure means the way you're proceeding with this information. In other words, what this may be is a signal to you that you really aren't communicating your real needs to your husband or to your wife. Maybe what you need to do is change your procedure, and instead of feeling hurt or instead of feeling uncomfortable, turn to your husband or wife and say, honey, I know you're wrapped up in your work. I know you're totally immersed. I know you're trying to do stuff that supports the whole family here. But you know what? I just need, 3 minutes with just you and I, because I really need right now to just feel loved by you. I need to hold you. I need to feel connected to you. Now, if that person starts to get upset, obviously you're getting feedback that your procedure still didn't work. You have to be a little more flexible, a little more creative, or maybe a little bit more loving in the way you do it. Or maybe change the timing in which you go about something. But that's changing procedure, changing the way you communicate. Or another way of changing procedure might be it's a signal that says that the way you're communicating your husband or wife doesn't make them want to make you feel loved right now.
You ain't as hungry as you were your first year. You ain't as hungry as you were your second year. And it can tell it, like we can see it in your game. You a grown man. Like I used to watch the game and go like, okay, what's the difference between this team and this team? And it's just like the players. I'm like, no, it's got to be bigger than that. Like they're all grown, they're all big, they're all tight, they shoot the same way. And I started realizing some dudes come with that beast and other dudes just show up. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. This is gonna be hard because some of you young and you like still worried about what people think about you, so you don't want to be honest in front of people. I'm gonna ask you a serious question. If 120% is like, yo, bump coach, I work harder than coach want me to work. And then 100% is I do everything coach tell me to do. I want you to think about what level you on. Are you giving 90, 80, 70? Let's see what I'm saying for a minute. And most of y'all know me. You know me from where? Like, where would you know me from?
That your present behavior may be turning them off. For example, let's say you feel rejected by them because when you come in the door, they don't rush up and give you a hug. They're immersed in something. Now, how do you respond to that? Well, what a lot of people do when they feel rejected is they feel uncomfortable with it, or they feel hurt, or some people get angry when they feel rejected. Now, what's the message of anger? The message of anger is you have a standard for your life, something that's important to you, and it's not being met by another person, or maybe even not being met by you. Sometimes we get angry because we're not living our own standards, huh? So let's say as a result, one of your standards is that people who love you, they run up and they greet you in your home. They don't do that today. You feel angry. One of your standards has been violated. Something you believe important is not happening, and now you're angry about it. How do you respond now to your spouse who doesn't even know what's going on? Maybe you give them a dirty look, or maybe you make some snide remark, or you find something wrong with what they're doing. As a result, this person may very well purposely reject you. Now when you're feeling this rejection, you're feeling this hurt or this anger, and you say, okay.
Social media. Where would you know me from? Say it again. Social media. Yep, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying. Watch this. I get 120. So I just got up 12years ago, just started getting online. It was a recession at the time. And I saw what was going on in America. I'm from Detroit. GM, Chrysler, Ford went down. People started going to the casinos, shooting themselves, killing themselves. I was like, I got a gift. I'm just going to get online and kill it. Every Monday I would get up. Thank God it's Monday. Kill it. Nike never sponsored me. Adidas never sponsored me. Under Armour never sponsored me. I get up every Monday and get a world something. Then it got crazy. I started meeting people, and people be like, yo, E.T., what up? Thank God it's money. I'm like, ooh, they feeling this. So then I started doing it every day. And then I started realizing cats is really feeling this, and I started doing it 3 times a day. You wake up and get 3 videos from me. You won't pay a dime for it. That's 120. Ain't nobody paying me, but I'm giving it out. Year after year after year. Boom, commercials. Year after year. Meek like E, I want to put you on my album.
They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. What are you remembering? The hurt, the pain, what didn't work out? Turn it around and remember your dream. Have you allowed any dreams to get buried in you. At one time, you believed you could do something great. You believed you could lead the company. In sales, you believed you could break that addiction.
Don't ask for better seed and soil. All you got's what's available. Don't curse what you got. The key is to set a better sail and turn what you've got into the miracle of your future. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. That's the reason for coming here, spending a couple of days of intense effort, taking notes, rolling up your sleeves, going to work, commit yourself to learning so that you can get smarter for the days ahead. Now, here's number 3. You've got to get going. All of the things that you've learned will not do you that much good if you don't put it into an action plan. You've got to get going.
I don't care if it's babysitting. I don't care if it's doing color. I don't care if it's painting. Whatever it is, it's what you do. Sing it. Whatever you do the best, write it down. That's your gift. That's it. You ain't got to go asking a bunch of people. They've been telling you your whole life. You know, you ever had people call you with their problems? They always call you with your problems because you gifted at it. But you didn't know how to identify it. If you identify your gift. Now, let me ask you this question. This thing that you're gifted at, if you did it for somebody, do you think somebody would pay you $10 for your gift? Just $10. Could you babysit for $10? Could you cut somebody's hair for $10? Could you cut their grass for $10? Could you make them a chicken dinner for $10? Could you do something for $10? Everybody. Don't you have something somebody would give you $10 for? Okay, now.
It's been a long time. Had some bad breaks, wasn't all your fault. You could easily settle where you are, nobody would fault you. The enemy would love to deceive you into burying your dream, thinking that it's never going to work. Don't believe those lies. It's not too late to become all that you were created to be. Every time you remember your dream, you're removing some dirt you're digging. Back out the true mark of a champion is even though some dirt gets thrown on your dream, instead of letting it get buried, you keep shaking it off, you keep moving forward.
In my management and leadership seminar, we teach game plans, how to put all the good things that you've learned into action. Economic action, social action, personal action. How to make the changes and how to actually do the work, how to actually function. Get going, that's the key. Some people are ever learning, but they don't put it into action. They don't really take the action. It's like the man who keeps bringing materials to the building site and never builds anything. He keeps bringing in the sand and the gravel and the windows and the doors and the roofing material, and he just stacks up all these supplies, but he never builds anything. See, if you do that long enough, fairly soon they'll come and take you away. You've got to do something with what you've learned. You've got to take action. You've got to get going. So that's one of the most important things to learn, how to design your days, how to design your weeks, how to design the months, so that you take the proper action to get the proper return that you're looking for, whether it's economic or personal.
Once you have something that somebody's willing to pay you $10 for, this is how this works. It's called the multiples of 10. See, you don't have to figure out how to be a millionaire. You just got to figure out the thing that makes you $10. So now here we go. You do it and you make $10. Soon as they pay you the 10, go do it 10 more times. Whatever it was. Watch some more kids, 10 more times. Get another 10, you got $100. When you get $100, whatever you did to make that $100, listen to me, do it 10 more times. You ain't got to get tricky with it, just do it 10 more times. You'd have made $1,000. Whatever you did to make the $1,000, don't get smart, stay stupid now. Do it 10 more times. You have now made $10,000. Hold up. Now we finna grow a little bit, but guess what you gotta do to grow? You just gotta do some more.
You wouldn't be having that opposition if you didn't have something great in you. If your dream wasn't alive and on track, right on schedule to come to pass, you wouldn't have so many things coming against you. That dream is still alive. You may have tried a year ago, 5 years ago, or 40 years ago. Didn't work out. Nobody was there to help you go back and try again. This is your time. This is your moment. Your destiny is calling out to you. Can I tell you, your dream is not dead. It's just not in season.
We haven't been taught to do that. That's the problem. We have this weird approach. We have this weird view of negative emotions. Like some of us think, oh, positive all the time. That leads to delusion.
Falling down doesn't mean that you're done.
Falling down doesn't mean that it's over. Falling down doesn't mean that you're dead. Falling down is a reckoning.
Where you step up in a situation and you lead and you do the right thing and you begin to realize you're different, you're unique, you're special. Your self-worth begins to change and you believe over the time in your life.
You're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're doing everything right. You're tired, you're exhausted, and ain't nothing happening. Yet that word is what you're waiting for yet. It's no different because we've messed up because you fell off the wagon, you've been on alcohol and drugs, and you gave up on life, you dropped out, or you've been to jail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And you really want your dream to happen and you're putting in your work and nothing's happening yet.
Some of us get so absorbed in our negative emotions that they, in some ways, exonerate us from making progress. That's a bad idea too. What we need to do is we need to process our negative emotions in a systematic way. And I think there's a good way to do that. What we need to do is we need to think about our regrets. And when we think about our regrets, the evidence is pretty clear that they can help us make better decisions, solve problems faster, be better strategists, find greater meaning in our life. What I had this giant database of regrets, and I would look on my computer screen and see them listed there. And you know what? It wasn't that much of a downer because I felt like people were trying to make sense of it.
An opportunity. Something that is given to all of us. Something to help us to build up. That will give us ultimate satisfaction and knowing that we're not done yet. We are all in this situation together. Why do we fall? It must humble us. Sometimes your worst days can be your best days. It's all about how you put it together. You have to be man enough or woman enough to save yourself. Enough with being afraid.
There's some interesting research on this. One of the things that we think about disclosure of our vulnerabilities and our setbacks and so forth is that people will like us less. And in fact, they actually like us more when we do that. And so I actually had a lot of respect for people willing to disclose and willing to explain. And I felt like I was actually helping them make sense of this regret. So it wasn't that much of a downer. Over and over and over again around the world, the same 4 regrets kept coming up. And I found that fascinating because there wasn't much national difference. What's more, as I said earlier, these 4 regrets are revealing because by revealing our regrets, we are revealing what we value the most. And so to me, these 4 core regrets operate as a photographic negative of the good life. That is, if we understand what people regret the most, we actually understand what they value the most. So in a weird way, these 16,000 regrets are not a downer as much as they are a pointer to what makes life worth living.
Enough of running away. Enough from hiding from your truth. Ladies and gentlemen, this moment in your life right now does matter. Sometimes you are going to lose. Sometimes you are going to hurt. Sometimes you're going to want to quit. You must be better than that. You must be stronger than your excuses. You must be stronger than your circumstances. You must be stronger than your fears. You need a little bit of faith and understanding that you can go further in your life, but you gotta believe in it. You got to trust in it. You got to stand on it. You got to stay away from the things that's not building you up. Falling down, let it be. Falling down, it will happen. Falling down, it's necessary, but that doesn't mean that you quit.
I promise you, if you keep pushing, if you keep giving me all your effort, it will happen. It must happen. It can't do anything. But Move, you can do anything but make progress. But I want you all to understand in saying that word that you all have to stop getting caught up in movement as progress for some of us. The action of making progress is progress. But the push itself, the fight, you get up and swing and miss, that's progress you. Get up and you run at what you want with everything you got.
I deserve to win. I deserve to be different. The next thing is this. You got to take some steps. You got to take some actions, make some mistakes, fall down, allow yourself to fail. Failure is only failure if you don't learn something from it. But the younger you are and the sooner you begin to take action and allow yourself to learn and get experience, the stronger you become. And if you stack experience onto self-worth, onto self-confidence, you have a formula that is going to separate you from everybody. So what is it that you love? Is it sports? Is it music? Is it business? What are some of your gifts? Is it your ability to speak, listen, your math skills, your kindness, your humor, your beauty, your intensity, your passion?
Why does ostracization hurt emotionally? Because it's the most dangerous thing that could happen to you on the plains of the savannah. If you got ostracized, you got eaten. It was that simple. So for us, as a survival mechanism from an evolutionary psychology perspective, we've got to be able to bond and connect with other people. And once I finally realized business can try and abstract itself from that, it can try and rise above that with suits and ties and code of, the way that things are supposed to be done and acting professional. I don't act professional. Literally. And if you guys have ever been with me in a high-level business meeting, Yemeni's going to back me up. I won't say the name of the company, but one of our largest customers in their corporate headquarters, I had one of them crying because I was just being real about my story and why I'm doing this. And they were touched. And it was like, okay, now I have connected with this person on a real level. I'm not trying to manipulate them. I'm trying to be honest about why I'm here. I'm being honest about why I fight.
You miss that's progress. The effort of making the attempt is progress. And so guess what the goals and the dreams are in that mindset to do nothing. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day. I do it the day after that. We're in a mindset of quitting. And if you want to make sure you become successful, it's not real you quit. It's where you stop preparing to quit. You got to give up on saying, look, I can do that tomorrow. Look, this is my time for rest. This is my time for break. There is no quit. Guess what dreams don't stop people doing?
Your ability to learn, your ability to teach, right? Your programming skills. Maybe it's thinking creatively, thinking strategically. Maybe it's just hard work, but what are you gifted with? And begin to leverage those gifts and talents towards your goals and dreams, and you'll be much happier. And the next thing is this: dream. I want you dreaming. I want you picturing your life. I live oceanfront here, and when I was a little boy, I used to walk on this beach and say, someday we're going to live there. Someday I'm going to have that house. There was nothing in my family that told me we should live somewhere like this. That my family wasn't big dreamers. They're just good people doing good things in their life, but no one thought about owning jets or multiple homes or the beach. But I started dreaming. I started thinking big. I'm standing on the beach. My home is right up there. And this entire process started with just a thought in my mind of living here. When I was much younger, I walked on this beach with my then girlfriend, and I began to think about living here one day, and it opened a space in my mind as a young man about what would it be like to live oceanfront. I didn't know.
Now, that was weird for me in the beginning. It was weird for me to reveal so much of my truthful self because I really had to accept being rejected. I had to put myself out there in a vulnerable way because they could have laughed and been like, that's so ridiculous. What do you know about business? You're just a kid. But they don't. It's all about humans. Humans. If you are dealing with humans, don't fall prey to the structure that people try to put around it. It won't work long term. In you right now is the ember of something you don't want to admit to yourself. I promise you. And if you let me interview you long enough, I will get to that thing. And you will resist me trying to get to that thing for a very long time. First, you'll give me a bullshit answer. First, you're going to tell me that you want to be happy. That's useless. I need to know what makes you happy. I need to know how you plan to be happy, okay? When people say generically that they want to be happy, they might as well tell me that they want a hit of meth.
You have the nerve to think or to ask yourself why you're not successful, and you see it happen every day on Monday morning. Somebody's going to get up and they get a hand in their resignation going to a new job on Monday morning. Somebody going to get uplifting more than you on Monday morning. Somebody going to get up running faster than you on Monday morning. Somebody going to get up with their name higher than the draft and you on Monday morning. Somebody's going to be getting that scholarship that you could have got. That's what on Monday morning somebody's going to get up whiffling to take that test.
There's so much stuff you don't know in this world. It's like amazing. I was talking to somebody. I was at this meeting, right? I was a speaker at the SALT convention. There was a convention every year in Vegas called SALT.
You are a royal priesthood. Get where you belong. Do what you're supposed to do. Live like you're supposed to live.
Don't be naive in saying, well, this doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. There are some things that matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter.
Most people are totally okay with decent, but I ain't talking about most people. I'm talking about you want to be a great one. You want to be great. Let me break it down to you. Listen to me. Are you only okay with excellence? Until excellence is the only option, we got something to work on. Until excellence is the only thing you'll settle for. We got work to do, my friend. Before you can be excellent, you must first see what excellence looks like. I want you to make a conscious decision that from this day forward, excellence will be the description of everything you do, like high performance and high achievement. It's just who you have become. You may feel that because you're feeling so much, you're so good, and you're so excellent at feeling, but you're not realizing that you're growing from your failures.
And it's a gathering of billionaires from around the world. They gather and they make decisions on what they're gonna do. And I was a keynote speaker, and I told the guy when he asked me, I said, sir, I'm not a billionaire. Why are you having me speak? He said, we know exactly who you are. He said, but we're intrigued with your story, how you come from nothing to get to where you are. So why don't you just come share your story? So I'm out here and I'm talking to these billionaires. And it's amazing because, you know, the average billionaire in this world is a billionaire because they come from money. Most people that become billionaires don't come from the dirt. They inherit 200 million and they turn it into $1 billion. So they don't know what you know. They don't know shit about no hard days and no rough ass nights. And so
the problem with many of you is that you got full, you got complacent, you got lazy. Somewhere along the line, you lost your enthusiasm, your optimism. You lost your hunger.
High school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter. Follow my directions now. I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, because I'm educable mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
I was talking to them and they were fascinated. And after the thing was over, the billionaires were talking. There was a couple of young guys there. And this guy graduated from college and he said, yeah, I'm here to bring you all my talent to you all's attention. And he started talking. He says, yeah, I have a degree in this, that, and the other, and I have another degree, and I have 3 degrees, and that's what I do. And, you know, a couple of billionaires was there, was like real hustlers. And they said, well, so you have all these degrees, so what do you offer? Well, if I need to, I'll go back to school and get another degree. He said, if you have 3 degrees and they're not working, why would you go get another one of them? And I just looked at him and I went, wow. Because when you talk to them dudes that make that other kind of money, they're not interested in your degree. They don't need a degree. If they need a degree, they'll hire somebody with one. But if you're really interested in being successful, it's not your education that's gonna make you successful.
And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run by my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And he said, Les Brown, he said, if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry.
And what we said to each other is, I can get through this. I will get through this. I must get through this. So I just need you to think about 3 people in your family that you love. 3 people. 3 people that you love. 3 people. You got them? They there? You got them? This is what I need you to do for me. Because some of you have a hard time staying motivated for a straight 100 days. So what I need you to do for me is I need you to think about those people every day when you're doing what you're doing. You have some days where you just want to hit the snooze button, raise your hand for me. You want to hit the snooze button, right? So watch this. This is what has to happen. That person that you think about has to be louder than the snooze button. So when you think about Granny, you got to think about, do I hit the snooze button or do I get up and make it happen for Granny? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Who are you doing this for?
You're becoming more powerful, you are educating yourself, you are realizing that your excellence is being nourished, it's going to get stronger, you are planning to see. I'm letting you know right now that you are a possible individual, you are a possible being, you are a possible reality. And this is the time for you to recognize that. Don't stop now, don't give up on now, find the way that you are recognizing within yourself and build on it. Just like clay, you must shape it, you must mold it. And you must make it a masterpiece. How many times have you said you couldn't do it?
We all pity the man who says, well, this is the only place I let down. Not true. Key to take home. Every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Every letdown affects the rest. This is part of the educational process on personal development. If you don't take the walk around the block, you probably won't do the apple a day. If you don't do the apple a day, you probably won't start building your library. If you don't build your library, you probably won't keep a journal, and you won't take pictures, and then you won't do this, you won't do wise things with your money, won't do wise things with your time, won't do wise things with your possibilities and relationships, and the first thing you know, 6 years of that accumulated, and we say you have messed up.
If you put as much time into working on winning as you put into thinking about losing, you already be a champion. When we gonna get tired of just knowing and seeing successful people and become one of them? Time is out to sit up here and just make these average decisions, make these irrelevant decisions that don't change you, don't change your family, don't change society, don't change your environment, don't change the world. It's time to make decisions that make you a legend. We see it every day. But the only difference, baby, you gonna make a choice to just be remembered, or you gonna make a choice to become a legend. We gotta stop quitting. We gotta stop giving up. All this TGIF, TGIF. It is now TGIA. Thank God I'm alive. When we open our eyes and we're in our right mind, we live as though we really appreciate that opportunity.
How many times did you say that you didn't have the strength? How many times? How many more times? When is enough going to be enough? When are you going to rise up and realize your true potential? When are you going to commit to your real truth? Because your words matter. Keep it moving, be productive, be powerful, and from the bottom of my heart, conduct. Your business, this is it, your journey, can be seen millions and millions of miles away in everything that you think. Therefore, you shall be greater than your fears.
So the whole key to reversing that process now is to start picking up these disciplines. Now here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest of your disciplines. Every new one affects the rest. Why action is so important. The least action, the smallest action. Take it. When you start accomplishing and the value starts to return from that one action, it'll inspire you to do the next one and the next one and the next one. You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book, it'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal, it'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new. And you've started a whole new life process. Key. Also, one more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline. Self-worth. Self-esteem.
And every time I see a post, every time I see a tweet, or just anything, I want to ask the person, why are you thanking God it's Friday? Hello, newsflash. Tomorrow is Saturday. The day after that is Sunday. The day after that is Monday. What are you thanking God it's Friday for? Because you're preparing to quit. You're prepared to stop what you're doing. You're prepared to clock out. You're prepared to go home. And you in the mental mindset for do nothing. I dare you to get prepared for the challenges of your life by getting rid of comfort. I dare you. I dare you when you find that job that if you don't arrive to work that you want, and then when you get there, you take the stairs. I dare you not to take a break, baby. I dare you to work through your lunch. I dare you when it's hot that you work fast, when it's cold you work longer. I dare you to learn something new today that you didn't know yesterday. I dare you to.
Be stronger than your doubts because your mind is very powerful music. Stop being sorry and start doing better. Better within you, better than anyone has ever seen. Better than your mistakes, better than your failures, better than those that doubted you. Lift yourself up, stop with the excuses, stop doing things that you know that is not right, doing all the things that will make you better. Depends on how you think, how you feel, what you do. How you perceive, there are going to be times that you're going to want to give up, but you don't have the permission to do so. You must carry on the good fight.
We need to know where we're going, because all we're ever concerned about, roughly speaking, is where we're going. That's what we need to know. Where are we going? What are we doing? And why? It turns out that the way that we're constructed neurophysiologically is that we don't experience any positive emotion unless we have an aim and we can see ourselves progressing towards that aim. It isn't precisely attaining the aim that makes us happy. As you all know, if you've ever attained anything, because as soon as you attain it, then the whole little game ends. Then you have to come up with another game. Right? So it's Sisyphus, and that's okay, but it does show that the attainment can't be the thing that drives you, because it collapses the game That's what happens when you graduate from university. It's like you're king of the mountain for one day, and then you're like serf at Starbucks for the next 5 years, you know? So, yeah. So what happens is that human beings are weird creatures because we're much more activated by having an aim and moving towards it than we are by attainment. And what that means is you have to have an aim, and that means you have to have an interpretation. And it also means that the nobler the aim, that's one way of thinking about it, the better your life. And that's a really interesting thing to know because, you know, you've heard ever since you were tiny that you should act like a good person. You shouldn't lie, for example. And you might think, well, why the hell should I act like a good person and why not lie? I mean, even a 3-year-old can ask that question because smart kids learn to lie earlier, by the way. And they think, well, why not twist the fabric of reality so that it serves your specific short-term needs? I mean, that's a great question. Why not do that? Why act morally? If you can get away with something and it brings you closer to something you want, well, why not do it? These are good questions. It's not self-evident. Well, it seems to me tied in with what I just mentioned. It's like you destabilize yourself and things become chaotic. That's not good. And if you don't have a noble aim, then you have nothing but shallow, trivial pleasures, and they don't sustain you. And that's not good because life is so difficult, it's so much suffering, it's so complex. It ends, and everyone dies, and it's painful. It's like without a noble aim, how can you withstand any of that? You can't. You become desperate, and once you become desperate, things go from bad to worse very rapidly when you become desperate. And so there's the idea of the noble aim, and it's not something. It's something that's necessary. It's the bread that people cannot live without, right? That's not physical bread. It's the noble aim. And what is that? Well, it's to pay attention. It's to speak properly. It's to confront chaos. It's to make a better world. It's something like that. And that's enough of a noble aim so that you can stand up without, cringing at the very thought of your own existence, so that you can do something that's worthwhile to justify your wretched position on the planet. And whatever it is that is you has this capacity to experience reality and to transform it, which is a very strange thing, You can conceptualize a future in your imagination, and then you can work and make that manifest. You participate in the process of creation. That's an amazing idea because it gives consciousness a constitutive role in the cosmos.
You are going to meet people in your life you do not like. They may not like you. Doesn't matter. The point is, in work, you're achieving results towards a goal. Now, you don't have to love everybody you work with. It's a nice bonus, but it's not going to happen. So you got to kind of realize they are stepping stones in your career. They are stepping stones if you're an entrepreneur. They're points of resistance. They're roadblocks. They're pitfalls. They're bumps. Whatever you want to call them. But you've got to achieve success. You've got to get over them. You've got to work with them, and you're going to move on. If you dwell on those, if they eat at you and they take away from your focus, then you're losing. And that's something you have to learn. You have to learn to deal with the noise, people that don't like you, people that hassle you, people you don't like. But that has nothing to do with achieving the objective, whatever that is.
The first source of inspiration is deciding. Second source of inspiration is planning. And now, here's a big source of inspiration: beginning, getting started. Actually turning thought and the notes on the paper, the plans, actually now committing it to action, getting started. And beginning can be an incredible source of inspiration. Guess what you can say? I'm on a new track. I have carved out for myself a new beginning. I'm on my way to the most incredible health. I will never be the same again. I'm leaving the old, undisciplined part of me. I'm leaving that behind. I'm a new person. I made my first walk around the block that I'd thought about for so long and never did. I finally did it today. I've started. I have begun. That is an incredible source of inspiration. And that is to start, to begin. You cannot believe what can happen to your self-esteem. And many of you have already experienced it. I'm just asking you to begin something new in all the areas of your life. Maybe you've always thought about benevolence. and you just haven't gotten started, or you haven't made the plans, or you haven't made the decision. I'm asking you to start taking that stuff now that's in your head, that imagination, which is very powerful, and it's a great source of inspiration in itself. But then I'm asking you then to decide, use that inspiration. Then I'm asking you to make plans, begin to make plans, use that inspiration. And then if you take that first step, it can be the first step of an incredible journey. And beginning can be many things. Beginning a new commitment to learning. You say, I'm going to have a library second to none, and I bought the first book of my new library today. I'm going to be surrounded by information and inspiration. You know, I provided some space in my room for my expanded library. But here's what's exciting. I got the first book today. I've gotten started. This is just the first of many, many books. This is the first of a whole flow of information for me. This is the first time. You want to learn a new skill and you sign up for a class. Let's say you want to learn accounting or something, and you sign up for the class and you take the first class. You get started. You thought about it. You made some plans for it. You made some time for it. But there's nothing like sitting there in the class with the pen in your hand and the pad ready to take notes. Here I am. I'm starting on a new journey of learning. Remember that. Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. If you begin that first week and then you don't continue, yes, you'll be inspired by deciding and planning and beginning. But all of that now will start to fade away if you don't do number 4. One of the great sources of inspiration is progressing. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that.
You use your time not jogging. You see, time determines everything. If your marriage is under stress, it's because you haven't used your time in your marriage properly. Time is so powerful that whatever you invest your time in, you become. There are some people in your life you need to drop. Why? They help you. In other words, time gives you time to change relationships. I put it to you, friends, that you can actually treat time just like money. Write this down. You can have time stolen. How many of you sat with people for 2 hours? When you was finished, you wasn't sure what happened. I mean, 2 hours of your life gone, and they talked to you, and you gained nothing. The older I get, the less time I have to just listen to talk.
Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but unfortunately you can't get more time.
I don't know about you, but you ain't old enough yet. There's a certain period in your life where you realize, I ain't got time for this. People just kind of wonder in your life, let's talk. Talk about what? Write this down. Time can be what? Abused. Time can also be lost. You can lose it, just like money. Time can be squandered, just like money. You can spend an entire day. Have you ever said this? I don't know where the day gone. Why? You squandered it. It didn't take you closer to your goals, didn't take you closer to your vision, didn't accomplish the things you wanted, and you spent it and squandered it on stuff that didn't count. Time is more important than money.
How hungry are you? How deep is your determination? How driven are you? These are the questions that you must ask yourself. But do you have the answers to it?
It goes into a trance with good habits, good rituals, great follow-up.
Let me get my shit and go too.
I don't know what it is for you, but you got to own it. Own IT. Through all the ups, all the downs, remember that you are not perfect, so get over yourself. One thing I know is that you are perfectly imperfect, just like me. What do you do to better yourself? Are you owning it? Are you taking responsibility, or are you blaming somebody else for the wrongs against you? It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to fix it. It's her life. Nobody else can do it for you. So get up and go do those things that you don't want to do when you don't want to do them anymore.
Do you understand what it takes to be hungry? Now, if you're the type of person that's waiting for someone to serve you up a plate of success, then you're going to be waiting a long time. Because no one is waiting for you to make up your mind. Being hungry and staying driven is what it's going to take you to the next level, to elevate you in areas that you've never been. Being hungry and driven is important. It's more important than sleep. It's more important than excuses. There are going to be a lot of people, they're going to question you. They're going to ask you why. But it's not up to them to make the decisions for you.
And I kept saying to myself, why is that the way that it is? And I guess I was okay for Wesley and Margaret Ann and Leonard and Angelo and Sharon and Linda, but it wasn't okay for me. I was curious. I wanted to live like Mr. Sidursky lived. I wanted the big car that he had. I wanted that big home that he had. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was 7 of us, plus Mama. He had a big mansion, just 3 of them, 10,000 square feet. I said, Mama, what is it, Leslie? One day, I want to buy you something just like this. My brothers and sisters, when we were on the bus going back, they were just engaged in playful things. I was thinking and dreaming. Mama didn't understand why I was thinking like that, because I'd been exposed to positive messages. I had to take care of Mr. Sidursky. I had to shine his shoes and clean his office. And every day when he was listening to motivational messages, I was hearing those things too. Earl Nightingale, we become what we think about.
Your success depends on you. How hungry are you? How driven are you? Do you go a full day without a meal? Are you the type of person that likes only to eat once a day? Now, how do you survive off of 1 meal a day? Well, you may be thinking, well, people do it all the time. But we're not talking about food nourishment. We're talking about what's inside, what really you're looking for, what exactly that you want out of your life. A different type of hunger. A hunger for success. A hunger to follow your dreams. And to get exactly it is what you're seeking in life. Standing out here in this desert, there are many different animals, creatures that roam throughout this desert. And things out here get eaten or they eat.
So get up and get set. Set yourself apart from being average, because you are not average. You are great. It's greatness, that's what it is. It's time for you to get the break that you deserve today and fight this good fight, because you're going to be a fighter every single day for the rest of your life. It's your life. It's your life, so guess what, guys? If you do the hard things in life, life gets easy. But if you do the easy things in life, life is going to be hard. The choice is yours.
All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Your mind is a machine. You must program yourself for success. Wow. When I heard those words, I said, wait a minute. I can program my mind for success. I can program my mind for wealth. You can too. Trust me. I've earned over $55 million in the last 28 years. Anybody told me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now? I spoke recently in Sweden. They paid me 40,000 euro for an hour speech. I had no idea that this Les Brown that you now see had the ability to do that. I used to work for the Miami Sanitation Department as a garbage collector. I used to be a janitor. I used to do door-to-door sales. I used to work for Sears.
Good habits, good rituals, great follow-up. I looked at those goals every single morning, and I went into a trance. If you want to be a pro, a real pro, you better get some habits and rituals, and you better do them all day, every day. Habits and rituals will make you a pro. We played the #1 team in the country. They had the #1 player in the country, and we beat them.
and I outplayed the #1 player in the country. I got to school the next day. The school was going crazy. Great game, Walt, man. You was on fire. You put us on your back. Thank you. Thank you. I'm fighting through the crowd trying to go to the counselor's office. That game was over. It happened yesterday. But I'm in school now, and I'm not a ball player right now. I'm a student, and I was trying to get to the counselor's office, and here's why. I had a 2.9.
The most important step we'll ever take in life is our next one. But a lot of us get our feet stuck in concrete. We get our feet stuck in concrete because we're afraid to make enemies. We're afraid to speak what's on our mind. We're afraid of being in that group of people. And when you walk away, we're afraid of what they might say behind your back. All that fear clouds your brain, clouds your thinking. One thing in life, you're gonna always have haters. Embrace them. Trust me, your haters will say.
Sometimes you got to take a break from just about everything disappear, come back, and shock the world. I'm talking to that athlete. I'm talking to that administrator. I'm talking to that nurse, that doctor. I'm talking to that student. I'm talking to that communicator. I'm talking to that pioneer, the inventor. I'm talking to that entrepreneur. I'm talking to that preacher. I'm talking to that person who refuses to stay.
And even though we beat the #1 team in the country, I outplayed the #1 player in the country, and all I cared about was getting to my coach's office. I got into the counselor's office, and she says, "Great game yesterday." Thank you. But can I ask you a question? I got a 2.9. What do I need to do to get a 3.0? She says, "Walter, I was afraid you were going to ask me that." I mean, you're doing great now, but you were in such a hole. The 2.9 is the best that you can do. For the first time in my life, I was pissed off about school. For the first time in my life, I was pissed off about education.
Where they are, I'm talking to that person that doesn't have a problem laying in obscurity, because you know that when you come out of the dark room, all eyes on you. We live in a culture of business, distraction and noise. And sometimes the only way something's good is if we disappear. Sometimes you got to delete the app. Sometimes you have to walk away.
Know one thing, embrace the fact that people don't like you. It means you're doing something right. With success in life comes more haters. Don't make them hurt your feelings. Use them for fuel. Use them for energy. In times of need, and when you don't want to do shit, roll through your brain that person who said you couldn't do something, weren't fast enough, good enough, smart enough. Use it for energy. Instead of killing them with kindness, we have to continue pushing past the odds. Use everything this world has to give you for fuel.